Hello, and welcome to the Superintendent Effect, a podcast where we highlight strong leaders building strong communities. I'm Ann Brown, President and CEO of the Cook Center for Human Connection, and I'm your host. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Sharon Pepukayi, Superintendent of Talbot Public Schools in Maryland. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you so much for having me, Anne. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to get to talk to you. We've had the opportunity to work together in a lot of different arenas, from personalized learning to early literacy and mental health. I know you've had an amazing journey to the superintendency, but I'm very proud of our friendship journey as well and the opportunities we've had to work together in some really important arenas for schools. Tell me about your district. What's going on in Talbot?
So I'm excited to be back home. I graduated out of Talbot County Public Schools many
Wow.
years ago. So it's a full circle moment. I came back home. I'm going into my fourth year in the superintendency. So I spent many years in Delaware, which is, not far, but I was still making over an hour commute every day back and forth. When this opportunity availed itself to me, I jumped at it. And so a small community here, small but mighty community, a little over 4,400 students, 8 buildings. And so we're here nestled on the eastern shore of Maryland. Very beautiful area if you haven't had a chance to come, surrounded by water. Coincidentally, this weekend is the Waterfowl Festival, a 3-day event that showcases all of Eastern Shore's culture, from the waterfowl and foods. So we're gearing up for that in the community right now.
Wow, that's fun. That's always fun to bring your community together like that. What's the school's role in that festival?
So I'm glad you asked that because we have over 200 students, and it's probably more as I'm speaking, that get service learning hours for volunteering in all aspects. So we have vendors, our schools are closed on Thursday and Friday. Vendors come in, they set up in our schools. And so there's people walking all around the towns here to take in all of the Eastern Shore culture. So our students help in volunteering and doing things that are necessary to help make it a success.
Oh, that's exciting. And so this is the community that you grew up in.
Yes, yes. So I grew up here. My parents are still here, 85 years old. My mom, a retired educator. I think that's where I got the education bug from.
Yeah.
But they're still here. So it's really nice to be back home amongst family.
Oh, well, that's exciting. So did you have to move when you came from Delaware to this position
I
or?
did. I did. I moved back home. I was living in Delaware for a long time in Middletown, which is another booming area, but I moved back home here. So it's nice to be back.
That's great. So you've been a superintendent, I know, in Delaware, here, I think even maybe another state. Tell me about your path to the superintendency and to the seat you're in today.
So I started off at teaching. Elementary school, elementary education was my background. Never aspired to be in anything leadership. I was just going to stay in the classroom with the students and retire there. Well, as the journey moved on, I just was afforded opportunities to work with other leaders in other arenas and areas. And so from the classroom, I came over to Delaware and jumped into an assistant principal position and then a principal. And then in Delaware, I was assistant superintendent where I led and supervised the principals there. And so I spent a lot of years there just working on a lot of state committees, evaluations, just all things leadership. And that kind of propelled me and prepared me for the superintendency. So when this position was open, I applied. It is different, with the superintendency, a lot more responsibility. But, being assistant superintendent for, I believe, 11 years, I had a lot of experiences and learning from a lot of other great superintendents that were out there to be able to do this job. So I have a 7-member board that are very supportive. And so we meet once a month to talk about student outcomes and what we want to do to move the needle here at Talbot County Public Schools.
Wow, that's amazing. I always think about the superintendency as, equal to a specialist in the medical field.
Mhm.
When you think about 11 years in the assistant seat, that's like 11 years of a fellowship to become a plastic surgeon or a orthopedic surgeon or something like that. It's equal time to get yourself ready to be in the seat that you're in now. And so I'm excited that you stepped up to that challenge and are enjoying the work. As you were going along, can you think of a mentor or two who really helped shape you and help encourage you? And tell me about that relationship or those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was in the classroom, the principal, Minnie Bazell, was the one who said, "Hey, hey, I have to head over to a meeting today. I'm going to get you a substitute, and I'd like for you to be here in the office in case things came up because she didn't have an assistant principal. And then she would say, hey, I have a grant or I have an opportunity. Summer school, they need a summer school administrator. Have you ever thought about dot, dot, dot? And so she was instrumental in propelling me to think about leadership. Her name was Minnie Bazell. And then when I went into my Delaware district, Marion Prophet, who was the assistant superintendent, took me under her wing and taught me lessons along the way as well. And now that I'm here in Maryland, there's 24 superintendents. And so we meet once a month. I look at all of them as mentors because I feel like I can go to any one of them to say, I have this issue, I have this, or a thought partner. There's 9 superintendents on the Eastern Shore. And so we have our close-knit group as well that we meet once a month. So there's always someone that I could pick up the phone and call to ask a question or just to be a thought partner with me.
That's invaluable in your work. As you said that story, I was thinking about what I would feel because I was a 6th grade teacher, how I would feel if my principal had come and tapped me that day and said, I'm going to get you a substitute, come and sit in the office. I think my original thought would have been, sweet, I could use a day off, right? Because you never understand the other person's role. Do you remember that first day and some of the issues you had to face in that first
Absolutely, absolutely. You have the parent calls, you have the student that may have had a bad day, you have the teacher that may have had a bad day. And so you're just triaging, you're triaging and you're trying to do what's best, ultimately keeping students at the center of all your decisions. But you're moving fast because no 2 days look alike.
So you didn't have a cup of coffee and put your feet up on the desk on that first day?
No. That's for the weekend. Sometimes.
Okay. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes. What's your hope for every child in Talbot County to believe about themselves when they graduate?
That is a great question because we just rolled out our 4-year strategic plan just this year. It's called Align by 2029. Our mission and vision is around 2 things. One, making sure that every student is celebrated, valued, and empowered so that when they leave and matriculate pre-K through 12, they have options for college career life. That's it. It's simple. So as simple as that sounds, there's a lot that's packed into that plan. We have 5 main priorities, which are around academics, to staffing, to community engagement, to aligning our systems, and then looking at our resources. But I think the foundation of all of that, and you know this all too well with the Cook Center, is taking care of us mentally, making sure that we are okay, because I think that's been something that has been dormant a long time. And I think it's getting the attention and the light that it needs. So we are tending to that first before we get into the reading, writing, arithmetic, because if that's not in place, if that's not on the road to where it needs to be, you could just forget about anything else. So that's what we're all about here. Just listening. I'm out in the community all the time. I'm transparent, making sure that I'm hearing the voices of students so that they're partners with us and in their learning journey and not just product that we're doing something to them.
I know you do some work with the Cook Center, but tell me about some of your mental health initiatives, Cook Center or not.
Yeah. So I actually coincidentally sit on the board of a mental health center here for all seasons, Rape Crisis Center and mental health. But what we do, we have schools that themselves have committees. For instance, I was in an elementary school and some of them teachers had on sweatsuits because it was Wellness Wednesday. Every Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. And so they do various activities. And so I said, here at district office, we could do some of those things too. We're not a school, but we support our schools. That doesn't mean we can't also have a Wellness Wednesday or, the sound wave baths here. So we're working on having sessions. We're having a speaker to talk about what does mental health look like for you and what we can do about that, because we haven't had speakers or anything at this district office level. And if we're at the level that are supporting schools, we need to be the models that are championing that and making sure that we're there to support our schools.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you have a lot of our Cook Center resources there. And, I hope some of those Wellness Wednesdays for your staff, you're highlighting staff guidance and that resources as part of your work.
Well, it's so funny because we have our Maryland Association of Boards conference every year. And I was there. And I'm a person where if I'm going to do something, I need to do it and use it so that I could talk about it. Right. So I was there and we were sitting there and I said, I need to get this app on my phone, try it out and use it. And I did. So now I do roundtables with every school. I just concluded my last one. And I talk to every staff about what's going on, like the state of the schools. And so we have a slide that has Cook Center because teacher burnout is real. We have the videos that we show. And I tell them, look, I put the app on my phone and I typed in a question, that I could get help on. So I'm one that I want to try it out. I want to see it so then I can give my testimony of it. So we just got our parent guidance posters. I just left the building. Elementary school, they had them up. We have them up here. And I'm getting ready to do my state of the school community talks. I'm doing two, one here on this end of the county and one in the Bay 100 area. So I'm taking those materials with me because that's a way to get the message out for parents that need help, because that's what I'm seeing more of as well, is that parents are doing the best that they can and they're sending their very best to us.
Yes.
So what support can we give them to help them as they're navigating life, to help them themselves as they're trying to help their students?
Yeah. I mean, parents love their kids. They
Mhm.
love their kids. They want to do what's right. And sometimes we just need to give them the ability and the permission to support their kids. So
Absolutely.
I'm so proud that we're partnering with you guys.
Yes.
What's something that what's something that you're most proud of in your time as a superintendent in your 4 years there?
I would say student advisory work. I meet with students grades 6 through 12, and I love being out where the magic happens, I say, and that's with the students. And I get to hear the ideas and the suggestions that they have. Can we do this instead? Having a news show that they run. I
Yeah.
saw some fifth graders, they had the green screen behind them, and they were doing everything. So being able to hear and be with the students and having that student advisory so we could set a goal for this year. What are we going to tackle? The one thing we're going to tackle this year that you are going to lead, and to be able to sit back and look at that. So that's probably what I'm most proud of, having that set up.
And driving them towards their independence to be able to
Absolutely.
have the ability and confidence to run that on their own is a huge
Absolutely.
life skill. I love
Yes.
how you said, I went straight to CCL. I love how you said career, college, or life.
Yes.
And I had another superintendent on the podcast, and they called it the three E's in theirs. They said every student will either be employed, enrolled, or enlisted.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, the three E's, they have it everywhere. But I could see your CCL the same,
Yes.
You're going to be ready
Yeah,
for a career, college, or life. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's three E's and an L because all of it's preparing them for life,
it
right? But
is. It is. And for them to see that, because I think we have the big umbrella of our occupations. Like we have apprenticeships and internships now, but I think we want to, like, say somebody wants to be a doctor, but what are all the other occupations that
yeah,
are affiliated in the medical field that students just don't realize? So we want to be able to create, those opportunities and for them to learn all the tentacles that span out in the medical field that they
yeah.
may not have thought about.
And that's so true. So I come from a family of educators. I'm the fourth of five generations of teachers.
Wow.
And I grew up in small town Idaho. And I didn't know all of the position. I mean, I still don't know all of the positions out there, but even the idea of an engineer or, so I was a teacher for 5 years, and then I was hired to become an educational trainer for Pearson. And I
Mm-hmm.
was I was a month into the job when finally I was with some colleagues. I started remote, it was all phone call. We didn't have any Zoom or anything like that. We couldn't see each other. But I finally got with my colleagues somewhere, and I looked over at one of them that had been doing the job for a long time, and I said, "What do you tell people you do? Like, what is our job?" And I knew how to do the job. I knew what the job was, but I didn't even have a name for it.
Mm.
And she looked at me and she goes, "We're educational trainers." I'm like, "Okay, great." But who knew there was a category for that? But
Yeah.
really something I didn't even know. And then I think about, a job that we were all hearing about a year ago was a prompt engineer,
Hmm.
six-figure
Right.
jobs. And I remember the first time I said that to a group of people and maybe one person knew it. Now we all know what a prompt engineer
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
And the other day, I ran into a friend in Costco who I had worked with previously in ed tech. And I said, "How are the kids?" And he goes, "Well, Klein's doing okay." And I said, "Well, what's he doing?" He goes, "He's a streamer." I said, "What does that mean?" He plays a video game on YouTube. Yesterday's stream had 1 million viewers.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
anyway, I just the work that kids can do today, it's mind blowing. It's mind
Yeah.
blowing.
And tapping into those talents that someone may think is not useful or valuable. but using it as a value add to a company or for themselves. And one area that we've been talking about is those, I mean, people is tagged as soft skills or interpersonal skills, but that's one thing we're very cognizant of as well. Being able to, in the classroom, we're one-to-one. So we have our devices, but we're cognizant that we are still teaching strong communication skills, collaboration, critical thinking, and all those qualities that we want our students to come out with so they can be successful and not just the technical side of the work.
Right. I almost think there's a class around something with, maybe it's the social network economy or something like that. So
Exactly.
kids could understand because, I have no idea how ads work or
Right.
how many followers you have equates to what, all of
Yeah.
those things. I think it could be really interesting.
Well, and I have to say, and that's what struck me. Like I look at words, and like words have meanings for me. And so,
Mhm.
Cook Center, what the human connection, just
Yeah.
those words that are tagged to that speaks volumes because I
Yeah.
think that's a lost thing. COVID, we all went into our isolation, but so to be out now, we got to get back to that. We have to get back to the human connection side of things.
And that could be its own class, right? Like
Absolutely.
what is
Absolutely.
human connection and how does that take place? And there's real science behind the number of interactions that you need face to face each day for strong mental health. It's actually six. You need to
Wow.
have six strong conversations face to face. Unfortunately, ours would not fit into that category because we're virtual.
I was gonna say,
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm totally enjoying our conversation, but having
Yeah.
that human connection is so important. And
Well,
so
thank you. I'm gonna carry that message out with me now.
well, let's see. I want to ask you a couple of quick questions here. What's something people don't know about you?
Well, I love kayaking. I love being outdoors. So now that I'm back home, I have country roads around me, so I can just last Sunday, I think it was nice and warm, almost like a spring day. I just got on my bike and headed out on the country roads. I'm on the water, so I get in my kayak when it was summertime, when the sun's going down, and I just love being out there. So, and I like pickleball. I picked up pickleball my first year as a superintendent. There was a principal, Kim Seidel. She's retired now, but she taught me how to play pickleball. And so there's an avid group that plays much more than I get to. I probably just need to carve out the time. But I really enjoy playing pickleball. I played tennis in college, so it's a little similar, and I love ping
Yeah,
pong. It's kind of a mix. So yeah, I like pickleball.
good. You've got some good hand-eye coordination. Well, of your list, I want to go kayaking with you. I'm not a pickleballer, but
Okay.
I do love kayaks in the ocean at sunset. That is
Yeah, that's
that
the
is
best.
my dream day, honestly. So that's amazing.
Good, good.
What advice would you give to a brand new superintendent now that you're a few years in?
I would say soak up everything, the experiences. Don't be afraid. Don't be job scared. Don't be afraid to take risks. Be a great listener. You have to leave the office and the four walls here and get out in the community, hit the streets, I say. Listen to the voices of everyone, all your stakeholders, from your business leaders to your students, to your parents, to your staff. And that's what, I started off doing, and I continue to do that. I listen all the time. I always say you might not agree or like the message, but you'll know the why. You'll know the why, and I will listen so that we can come together as partners because it takes a strong partnership to run an educational system.
Well, Dr. Sharon, that is great advice. Talbot School District is so lucky to have you as their strong leader building their strong
Oh, I
communities.
appreciate that, Anne.
Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thanks for joining us today on the
Thank you
Superintendent
so much.
Effect.
Thank you so much for having me.